We are seeing one of the strangest global events of our lifetimes. Power companies in the USA, Canada, Europe, Japan, and who knows where else, who have no business other than to safely deliver utility services to us, have been enlisted by some global agenda to install radiation-emitting surveillance devices on our homes that they are calling smart meters. The reason that this is so strange is that even after we have told them that these devices are dangerous, harmful, unlawful, and invasive, they flatly ignore us and continue to attempt the installations as if we were speaking to a hole in the ground. We know now that our power companies were perfectly aware of the problems with these meters from the beginning, and they even developed and planned strategies to withhold information about the meters, to install the devices without our knowledge or consent, to lie to us about what the digital meters are and what they do, and refuse to provide verifiable answers to questions about those meters. They could not have sent a more clear signal that the meters are not in our interest.
Hi everybody, so here we are inside our little garage storage room, which happens to have the breaker panel for our house electricity. On the other side of this breaker panel is our analog meter. Now we've got a whole lot of equipment here, and we've got a new smart meter that is the same kind APS is using in their service territory now. It's a Landis & Gyr Focus AXR. And we're going to be running the electricity for the house through this smart meter, and we're going to be measuring the waveforms with this equipment. And here's Paul. He's going to tell us about this equipment and what's going on here.
To measure RF transmitting from the smart meter, we're using an HF59B from Gigahertz Solutions, and you'll hear when it transmits. All right, so I'm going to just
you'll hear like little ticks.
Yeah. You'll hear a distortion.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to attach this to the panel. All right, and now we're going to measure electricity running through the smart meter. All right.
Okay.
Right now the switch isn't thrown. As you can see, there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn this on.
Whoa.
So we've got quite a
Look
bit
at
of
that.
distortion
Yeah.
going on. All right.
And that tick, that's the smart, listen to
Right.
it.
Yep.
Wow.
So we're going to try to catch it when it transmits.
Yeah. That didn't look like that when we just had, wow,
Right.
we just had the analog going.
Right. So I've had enough of that.
That was a lot of transmissions too in just a small amount of time.
And we're seeing this with the new the new smart meters.
Yeah.
First was introduced to the smart meter.
Because your bed was right there.
My bed was on the other side of the panel for the house, so I was absorbing quite a large magnetic field and an electric field, as this will.
In addition to the broadcast microwaves.
Right, and so when this started to transmit, I woke up, and that was at 3:12 in the morning.
Yeah. So I think what we're seeing here, folks, is not just the microwave transmissions that go through the air from the smart meter, but they also, because this is at the entrance of the electricity to your house, the transmission, the frequencies of the transmissions get sent along the wiring as well, and that's what we're seeing here on this Fluke oscilloscope. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't stay in the wiring.
Right.
It actually radiates 6 to 8 feet from the wire. So it's not just coming from the little outlet. If you were to take the
wire,
wall,
so we're basically living in a big antenna.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. So you can't really escape that. So
Yeah.
people that are sleeping in a bedroom with a smart meter connected to it are going to have a higher exposure than somebody that's going to sleep in a room on the other side of the house. They're still going to have an exposure, but not as great as one.
This would explain why a lot of people who could handle a baby monitor, their cell phone, the Wi-Fi, all that stuff, this is why the smart meter puts those people over the top.
Right.
So in terms of illness and discomfort and
Correct.
and what have you.
Correct. Yeah, you're
all the symptoms that the people can show from this.
Well, the frequencies being transmitted it's not just the 900 megahertz that's
the microwave.
That's the microwave effect. But this effect is much greater. It's like no other device in your home. You are absorbing this, and you're absorbing frequencies known to affect the cell membrane. So down into the 10 kilohertz range, 15 kilohertz range, and it's been known for, you know, over 50 years that these particular frequencies and waveforms.
When you say known by who?
By IEEE, so the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, from the
that's a mainstream outfit.
Yeah, you know, the EPRI, Journal of Neurophysiology. They're really excited about using this instead of medication when they do surgery, because they're able to create nerve block by opening potassium channels and calcium and sodium channels just with frequencies. So 10 kilohertz.
So it has some positive use, but in your home all the time, it's maybe not so positive, huh?
Yeah, probably not so much. You know, anything that can affect you on the biological level is a poison. You know, it's just a matter of dose.
Yeah. So you're getting dosed all the time with one of these.
All the time, yeah. So this is not like your baby monitor. This isn't like your cell phone. This is like no other device you're exposed to, because it's using all the wiring that travels through this panel as an antenna. So it's an energized antenna.
Because it's connected to it.
Correct. It's the largest antenna, and you're exposed to this 24/7 if you're in the house 24/7. So it never cleans up, as you saw. Once you put this thing on, it's a nightmare. Yeah. So what I've done is
we've done a number of takes in this video, and it's always the same.
Yeah. So
our power companies have allowed themselves to become partisans and to become enemies of their customers' health, safety, and privacy in some strange and new program to collect data and possibly harm everyone who has a utility meter. The new digital meters are designed to do things utility meters don't need to do. And power companies refuse to explain why they are so determined to push this on us. Most of us have become very dependent on our utilities, and our dependency is now being exploited by a global matrix called the smart grid, designed for massive collection and centralization of personal data. Because this smart grid program operates largely in secret, there are many theories emerging and being explored. This is not limited to just your power company or even your country. It's clearly coordinated internationally. United Nations Agenda 21 has become suspected as a key driver, because that agenda calls for global controls of population behaviors and collection of data at the local level, just as the digital meters are designed to do. Those United Nations programs have been directly funded by proponents of global governance and depopulation, such as Ted Turner, Bill Gates, George Soros, and other members of secret societies advocating depopulation, such as the Club of Rome. Again, this is currently largely rumor and speculation, and we certainly need more facts to fully understand the bizarre experiment of invading private homes all over the world with high-tech monitoring devices posing as utility meters. Depopulation agenda or not, digital utility meters offer no benefit whatsoever to customers and pose a number of very serious hazards. It's hard to imagine the forces and pressures that could have enlisted your power companies in the SmartMeter program, because broad-scale deployment of those meters exposes the power companies to huge negative legal and political consequences. Because of the secret character of the SmartMeter rollout, utility customers have been caught very much off guard and have made some mistakes on how we respond to this assault. We have protested and demonstrated. We have pleaded and argued with the utility company to remove the meters. We have asked the utility company to provide solutions, assuming they would want to. We have failed to recognize that the problem is much larger than mismanagement of a utility company. We have a determined public enemy at a level above our utility companies. The power company is a low or mid-level player, and they are playing on the wrong side. This forces us into a different relationship with our utility companies. You don't negotiate with criminals. You don't let them commit a little bit of crime along with an essential public service. Crime is crime. The only thing that crime calls for is enforcement, and unfortunately, as is so common these days, none of our public agencies seem to be willing or able to enforce safe utility metering for us, and we have no choice but to enforce for ourselves. Enforcement is very different from petitioning an institution for better service or responsible conduct. We must let go of our consumer mentality and adopt the mentality of an enforcer. Enforcement means force. It means command. It means using leverage, strategy, and power in a targeted way against a determined opponent. If you want your home in the future to be free of excess electromagnetic radiation and monitoring devices, there are some strategic and targeted strategies that I can suggest. First, never compromise with a violator. Never negotiate your rights, safety, and health away. Giving up those things damages you. What that means in the struggle against digital utility metering is never agree to any harmful or unclear proposal that has been devised by your utility company. Do not regard the company as your friend.
It is safe to say that the world today is nothing like the one we lived in 20 years ago. And human beings are manipulating their environment to the extent that was only dreamed of 30 years ago. Super-fast computers, touchscreen tablets, the internet, a multitude of channels in HD, and so much more. But one technology that has exploded into our consciousness far beyond all others? The mobile phone. Mobile phones have been around since the 80s, but since 2000 they have really taken off. 27% of adults and 47% of teenagers now own smartphones. The UK and the rest of the developing world have had to deal with this demand, not only for the materials used to manufacture the phones, but also in the building of vast networks of mobile phone masts to cope with the increasing requirement. The problem is no one knows what the long-term effects of mobile phone usage is, or what effects it will have on us now or in the future. Having extensively increased the electromagnetic fields in the atmosphere with Wi-Fi, mobile telephones, TV, and a soon-to-be in a home near you, the SmartMeter. Now being rolled out all over the country with the promise of slashing bills up to 15% by more effectively monitoring your utilities usage. The problem with the SmartMeter is they communicate with your suppliers using a wireless mobile phone technology. Some say that the energy they produce can be as much as 30 or 40,000 times the normal level of microwave radiation. You can choose when and in what manner to use your mobile phone. And if you follow the instructions on how to reduce RF energy, you'll be even safer. But the radiation exposed to you by your SmartMeter will be decided by the utility companies. So what are the long-term effects on this increased radiation? Are we harming life on our planet by this dependency upon wireless technology? Is it just sensationalism, or is it something we should all be aware of and concerned about? Back to you guys at the studio.